It's a challenging time to be a teacher. We don't get paid a lot, the days can be long and exhausting, demands from students, parents, admins, and districts can be intense. There's always room for improvement and there is always more to do. There are always new procedures to learn, new programs to run, new strategies to master. But it's when our fire burns the lowest that we remember our purpose. We teach because we're resilient. We teach because we're problem solvers. We teach because investing in kids is one of the highest callings we can imagine. We teach because we know that the classroom can be a place of magic and possibility. We teach because we have an unquenchable fire for learning and a passion to share it. We teach because our colleagues are some of the best human beings we will ever meet. We teach because we have an opportunity to influence the global citizens that will make this world a better place. If you're still on fire for learning and growth, join the Teachers on Fire Roundtable for conversations that will warm your heart, spark your thinking, and ignite your practice. You'll hear from real people and real educators with real solutions, not make-believe perfection, but ideas, inspiration, and a path toward change and transformation in K-12 education today. My name is Tim Cavey. I'm an 8th grade teacher, assistant principal, and the host of the Teachers on Fire podcast. I'm inviting you to join us at the Teachers on Fire Roundtable. Because you matter, your voice is important, and we are all better together. Good morning, Teachers on Fire, and welcome back to another conversation that will warm your heart, spark your thinking, and ignite your professional practice. I'm so excited and pleased to have in the Teachers on Fire studios this morning the proud principal of Memorial Pathway Academy in the Garland Independent School District based near El Paso, Texas. Thank you for joining me this morning, Josh Tovar. If 1 is burnout and 5 is on fire, how are you checking in this morning? Oh, and it seems like you may be muted, Josh.
We just talked about that, right? I'm a 5, Tim. I'm a 5. I'm always on fire. That's the only way to be. In the position that I sit in as a proud principal of Memorial Pathway Academy, you have to be on fire. Right now, at the same time, we have Principal Cafele on at the same time. And you know what? That's the way he always starts off. And he lets us know we choose to be in a position of leadership. And you know what? When you're in a position of leadership that we applied for, that we wish they would call us back for another interview so we could get the main chair, we can only have one chance. What is that one chance? To inspire others. So let me tell you, either today, tomorrow, in 5 years, I will always be on fire. Because you know what? People always look up and say, is he motivated? Because if he's motivated, maybe I will cling on to that. So I'm a 5, brother.
Yes. All right. Well, bringing it already. I love that. Thank you so much. And yeah, love to have conversations with people who are unapologetically on fire. So thank you so much, Josh. Well, let's jump into it right away. Actually, before I do, need to say hello. You mentioned a couple of viewers. If you are here with us live or watching on the replay, let us know in the comments, in the chat. How are you feeling this morning? Are you somewhere between 1 being burnout and 5 on fire? And let us know where you are coming from as well. We've got Shannon coming in from Prince George, BC. Shannon, let us know how you are feeling this morning. Well, Josh, let's jump into it right away. You tell the learning story of your community so well on social media. I want to know, what motivates you to constantly lift up your staff and students the way that you do?
You know, there's a mantra, a motto that we all live by, hopefully as leaders. And so my mantra has always been, and you hear me on our regular show on Unlock the Middle repeatedly, and at the campus. Kids don't care how much you know until they know how much you care. But there's no difference between kids and adults, because that's the same thing. Let me tell you, a very successful coach will always be able to inspire the team, regardless of what the score is. And a coach will always ensure that they show the passion, the love for their players. And you know what? When you sit in the chair that I sit in, it's crucial that I role model expectations and that I always support them. And how do we support them? By showing the small successes. Everything that is in school, it's a small success. Because you know what? That kid that always gets a 77 or gets a 75, but went to an 81, that is huge for him or her. That is huge. That teacher that had a certain percentage rate with some a test that we had to do standardized, and they raised up they increased the student scores. That is huge. Showing up to school, recognizing that is huge. And you know what? It's my job. I feel it's my role to ensure that we accentuate the positive, that we always motivate people for everything that they do.
Well, if you are unfamiliar with Josh's social media accounts, hopefully we'll get a chance to get them up on the screen here, but just nonstop celebration of the learning community. I don't know anyone, Josh, frankly, across the world. And, not that I've seen every account ever, but I don't know anyone doing it better. So if you are not following Josh, stick around and we'll make sure you get those handles later in the show. But let's move into question 3. Josh, what about that person who admires what you're doing? You're celebrating bus drivers, teachers, students all over your social media. They love what you're doing, but they don't feel they can do the same without that title. What's your message to these teachers on fire?
Well, Timmy, let me let you know, to all educators out there, before the pandemic, it was tough. We were facing a lot of adversity. And now, Todd Whitaker says that now with this pandemic and everything of the effects of it, and we start feeling the ripple effects for years down the road, right. It makes it even more intolerable. So it's very important that we stay focused on the things that we're successful in. So I suggest to you, classroom aide, I suggest to you, classroom teacher, head of security, bus driver, that whatever you find that you're good at in regards to promoting the successfulness of your students, do it small, one thing at a time, and then master it. Hey, I'm a heavy guy. My weight goes up and down, all right? And so the only thing I'll tell you right now is whatever one tool it does, you keep on doing it until you start focusing on the successful aspects of weight loss. Well, this is the same thing about promoting. Whatever you're good at, please make sure that you start doing it, hone in the trade, hone in the tools that you need to accentuate the positive, and then promote it. If you're a bus driver and you see a kid talk to you about a 77 they got on a quiz, put it on the window. If you're an instructional aide, write him a little post-it thank you note. If you're a classroom teacher and the kid that always gets 60s gets an 81, put it on the wall or put it on the outside wall. Promote the positive, and from that moment on, you will ensure that people will connect with you. Just like those coaches. Have you seen those coaches after the kid drops the ball and they're in their face and they're letting them having it and they're talking them to, and you know what? They'll take it. You know why they'll take it? Because they know the coach loves them. And during practice, before practice, after practice, they made a connection. And this is how you make those connections with kids, accentuating the positive. Whatever the positive is in your sphere of influence. If you're the head of security, if you're security, and I misbehaved a lot in school. I was not a very good student. I was very, very bad. Head of security, if Josh has behaved for 2 days in a row, how about you call him over and during transition and you say, hey, Josh, I've noticed that you've been doing good. Any little small thing, accentuate the positive, and you know what? People will fall in line to your vision.
So good, and love that comment from Brother Andrew. Says, so important to celebrate successes. Yes, there's always something to celebrate. And obviously, we face a lot of adversity. We've had a lot of struggles, a lot of problems over the last couple of years, but it is possible, right, Josh, to tell that positive story, and not by being sort of what some refer to as the toxic positivity, but simply celebrating, shining a light on those good news items, right?
Right. And you know what, Tim? I still don't get that whole thing of toxic positivity. I've been hearing that a lot from people I don't mean to stereotype, but I know how the whole world is. But people in the New England area keep on saying that. I mean, you know what? If you're promoting kid success, that's someone's son or daughter.
Right.
You know what? We're talking about the kid business. If it's a brand new teacher that feels the support because you give him a pat on the back, you know what? That's success. There is no such thing as toxic positivity. I don't know. I don't see it. I don't understand what that whole thing is. I'm just telling you is we're not in the science business. We're not in the history business. We're not in the math business. We're in the people business. And it's very important. It's very crucial that all of us work together to accentuate the positive, especially in a business that's known education. Public education has to do with every single last person in your community. And how do we do that? By making them believe in our vision. Classroom teacher, your vision. What do they say about you? When kids get their schedule and they look at your name, what do they say about you?
Ooh, yeah.
That's it's word of mouth. It's just like anything else. Who do we call? Does anybody know a good plumber? Who do you call? You call the people with good word of mouth recommendations.
Right. Yeah. Yeah, so good. I think sometimes people have this idea that, man, we've got to name and recognize the negative as well. But that's fine. We can do that and still celebrate kids and still celebrate staff members who are doing amazing things. And as you said, sometimes we feel like everyone knows these positive stories. They don't. They don't. You've got to tell them. And you do that so well. Well, speaking of stories, and you alluded to this briefly, Josh, but let's get into your own story, because I've seen sort of glimpses of it in different places on social media, but you didn't have the most amazing, inspiring experience with school is what I gather. How does that story of learning for you personally in K-12 inform your work today?
Look, I'm an immigrant to this country. I came from Ciudad Juarez, Chihuahua, Mexico. I wasn't born in this country. So I'm an immigrant here. And when I arrived to El Paso, Texas, that is in the section that we bought a house in, it was all white Anglo-Saxons. And in that area, you had nobody that was of my color. There was nobody that spoke Spanish. So there was a whole aspect in the late 70s of not promoting the usage of Spanish, but on the contrary, only English. I'm a product of full immersion. And as I evolved, then my parents went through divorce and my mom left. And being a child of divorce, learning my second language, it creates issues in your head. You know what, as a kid. And that's where we see a lot of kids go down different roads. Then in high school, I've said it many times, I was a horrible student. I would ditch school. I would go out drinking. I would do a lot of bad choices that harmed me as an individual. Was I probably self-medicating? Probably yes. Did I have too much freedom? For sure. But you know what? I was not a very good student. And so with all the things, thank God they didn't have standardized testing back then. I'm so happy they didn't have that. Oh my God, I would be on the 7-year plan. I wouldn't be on the 4-year plan. And the only thing that geared me was a win-win situation on the right path, which was joining the United States Marine Corps. When I joined the United States Marine Corps, that finally brought me back to focus. So through all that time, I could have been a loser. I could have dropped out. I could have tapped out because you know what? No one cared. Teacher said that I was dumb. Teacher said that I would never do anything in life. I was fulfilling their prophecy by not going to school. And when I went to school, I just got just enough to pass. So the Marines allowed me to use that just enough to pass to kick it up to the next level. And knowing that, my mom guided me in some conversations. She was a teacher in the border area like I was, and she dealt with a lot of students from Ciudad Juarez also. And she was a science teacher for 31 years. And she said, you know what, you read a lot of history books. So why don't you teach history? Well, I was none the wiser. I didn't know what was up. We all know that. One of the worst years for anybody in school, freshman year in high school, freshman year in college, right?
Yeah.
And so those years right there, my mom was the one that guided me, made sure that I went on this path. So taking all those things into consideration, the Lord led me to making sure that I returned the favor. In other words, that I didn't want kids to go through what I went through. I didn't want kids knowing that they had to learn English and then they had someone that was supportive of them. I also knew why kids misbehaved because I was that kid. So I wouldn't tolerate any nonsense and any shenanigans. And it's to make sure you stay focused because there's one thing that I know for sure. Every time you get knocked down, you get back up. Every time you get knocked down, you get back up. You shake it off. That's a podcast I just heard with Mike Gaskell, and he's talking about the successful people know how to pick themselves back up. So taking into consideration being a child of divorce at a very early age as a freshman, Being a student that violated a lot of laws by drinking, I'm not proud of it. I did a lot of shenanigans that I shouldn't have done. Being someone that ditched left and right from school, never went to school. I'm not proud of all those things, but you know what? Without those experiences, it makes me a better educator even now at this stage of my career. So having all those bad experiences as an individual, so I sympathetic and empathetic to a kid that shows up that mom is working 2 jobs. I understand their plight. I understand that. Look, I don't condone kids drinking like I did. I'm not saying that was okay at all, because I know the errors of that. But when I know that there's a kid with substance abuse, I could relate to it, understanding what they went through. So I feel that all those experiences have made me a better educator because I walked those shoes. And it's about having street cred. I always talk to people about having street cred. If you're an elementary administrator and you go to high school, you know what those high school teachers are going to say?
Right.
You don't know nothing.
That's a tough move.
You can't do that. If you go middle school to high school teachers, they don't know nothing. They're just middle school. Right. It's about having street cred. And even with your kids also. If you can't connect with them, if you cannot find that way to empathize with their struggle, because you got to meet them where they're at. You know what? Every single last podcast that I hear that's motivational tells you that same thing, Tim. You know this. You got to meet kids where they're at. No one met me. No one met the child of divorce that was getting drunk every day on a Tuesday at 9 a.m. No one met me anywhere. No one said, hey, we missed you. Hey, where have you been? Nobody. And so it's one of those things that those experiences are crucial to all of us as educators, that we use them and we use them as a tool. So always reach out to your kids. Again, educator, aide, teacher, cafeteria worker, cafeteria cashier, library assistant. All of you can make those connections with kids because maybe you're the one that kid needs. Maybe that's why you were hired at that campus. So make those connections using your experiences also. Don't preach it. They just want to hear it. They want to know that you have an ear for them and they're able to communicate.
I just saw a retweet on your Twitter feed, the MPA Twitter feed, from another principal, one that you retweeted, where he was saying, my next step is to actually sit with my students as they eat. I thought, yes, I mean, that's something I've written about too in terms of teaching in the classroom. There's something powerful about literally sitting physically with students. And you model that in every way, not just sitting, but walking and talking. And I talk to middle school teachers who, like, you've got to know what sus means, what bussin' means. You got to be keeping up with kids the best you can, for sure.
And that's the time that I meet with the campus that I'm at. It's a campus that has kids from around the world. From Afghanistan, from Pakistan, from Vietnam, El Salvador, Honduras, Costa Rica. And you know what? You sit down and say, hey, why did you use that word? What does that mean in Spanish? You're Spanish. So you build those communications. Or I sit down with my Vietnamese kids and they laugh at me. Oh my God, do I destroy Vietnamese? I butcher it. Oh, wait, I'm learning Farsi and Pashto. Oh my God, am I destroying it? Let me tell you, I'm not doing a good job. But you know what? They laugh and they smile. They feel comfortable that during lunchtime, I'm sitting next to them and we're breaking bread together. Not so much me eating, but us having those conversations, making connections.
Oh, so good. Some great comments coming in here. Phil Stringer says, yes, promote the positive. I try to send home kudos to parents where I can. I know at my middle school, we're trying to do positive parent messages going out from teachers every week. Andrew says, I love the Taylor Swift reference. Shannon is saying, speaking my language, meet kids where they are at. Maslow before Bloom. So good. Well, Josh, thinking about culture, and you model this so well. I haven't been in your school. Would love to visit someday if I'm down in that area. But what is one piece of advice that you could share with an aspiring leader about how to build that positive culture of, as Katie White says, safety, then love, then learning in your building?
Anybody that sits in our chair, an administrative chair, you have to role model expectations. That also goes into the classroom. You can't tell a kid, don't use your cell phone in class, and then you're using it in front of him or her. You can't tell a kid, don't chew gum, and you're chewing gum. You have to role model the expectations. So the very first thing is, whatever your vision is, because every school has its own pulse. Every school has its own culture. Every school has its own climate. Number one, whatever it is, when you get in there, inject the positivity by role modeling what your expectations are. And it's not and it goes into number 2. You have to have patterns of behavior. The person I learned the most from was from my mom. My mom was that ankle biter. Hey, administrator, you know which one I'm talking about? The one that always tells you, that's not going to work. That guy came from elementary. He's not going to give me advice. You know that teacher? That was my mom. And I would hear her say this very often. Do those administrators think they're going to keep us happy with one sandwich per month? Do you think those administrators are going to be good when they pass by me without saying hello to me in the door? No. And so everything she would say, I wrote down in my brain. But I don't want to put up with my mom, right? Because I know how my mom can be. And so she taught me those things. It's about establishing the patterns of behavior. So whatever you start, you got to go all the way through. As the Principal Cafele says, you can't fake the funk. Whatever you bring to the table, you have to bring to the table 100%. And then feel you need to do what is comfortable for you. I don't know what's comfortable for you. I learned to give kids every birthday a card when I was my second year teaching in the early 90s. I haven't stopped doing that even now. I still send out birthday cards to my kids. Even if it was a campus that I came from that was 2,500 kids, I would send them birthday cards. So it's very important because a lot of those kids, you know what they would tell me? Tovar, hey, I got your card. Even my hardcore wannabe gang members. Hey, got your card. Oh, really, Mijo? Yeah. It was the only gift I got. Thank you. But you see, I understood with a quick little sentence. A lot of our students, and they've told me, you're the only one that gave me something for my birthday. So I've never stopped that. If there's a little glimmer of hope I could give a kid in one day, you know what? Let me be that. Let me be that spark. Let me be that internal candle. So do whatever you feel comfortable with, but keep on doing it. Don't start something and then finish it because no one likes that. Especially the weebies. You know who the weebies are, Tim?
No.
You've never heard of the weebies?
No.
It's those teachers like my mom. We be here before you. We be here after you. All right. And so if you want the weebies to believe in you, you have to be consistent with your vision of support and positivity.
So much good stuff there. I love you're saying it's not a one-size-fits-all formula, but you've got to find that way to connect with kids and to let them know they matter. And for you, one of those ways was birthday cards. And yeah, you don't want to start that in September and then drop it in November. You know, whatever you sort of set out to do, you've got to follow through because that is one thing that our students we know look to us for is that credibility. I want to pause to say thank you to our live and replay audience for joining us this morning. If you are enjoying this conversation, smash the like button, drop a comment, and subscribe to the channel on YouTube. Your support is appreciated. Well, Josh, we talked about how you like to lift up the people in your community, and something else you do. You support education content creators in a big way as well, and thank you so much for that. I've got to say, you've been super helpful in terms of getting out the Teachers on Fire word, and you pump me up all the time. And I know you do that for so many other creators from the gym, from different places where you are. So talk about your thinking there. Why is it important to you to lift up people who are sharing education content?
Because our job is so hard. It's so difficult, you know? And then I'm talking about in the trenches. And our team members need to have those different voices out there. Yeah. And sometimes they need to hear from a different city, from a different individual to find that connection. Have you ever had a situation with your child where you told them a piece of advice, but because you said it, it's not valid? Right. But then they hear it from another teacher or a coach, like, hey, I told you that, fool. Where were you? Daddy told you that. Well, you know what? Yeah. It's the same thing. You have to find that connection. Maybe it's the inflection, maybe it's the tone, the facial expression, whatever it might be, that people need to connect with it. And, you know, myself, for me to be a 5, Tim, for me to be a 5 right now, Saturday morning or on Monday, or the following Monday after spring break, I need to make sure that I hear other people. I need to
Right.
hear those stories of success. I need to hear those rocky stories. And you know what? We have a lot of rocky students in our classrooms. I
Mm-hmm.
need to hear those educators that are working ungodly hours, even more so right now, to make sure the students are successful, that they're not retained because of some silly state test. I need to make sure that I learn different tricks to ensure positivity in the bloodstream of our body, our campus body. So I do that by listening to you guys. Listen to you. I wrote down on my list, and so you're gonna have to honor my list later on, because it's crucial. These people that I listen to every Saturday and Sunday, those are the days for my PD. And right now we have ESSER funds for this. Sometimes we have money for this. But you know what? We don't always need to go to a different city to learn from somebody else. These podcasts, these YouTube channels are crucial to ensuring to check, I'm doing okay. You check where the win is, and you know what? Based on where I'm at, I'm doing okay.
Mm-hmm.
I love my beautiful campus. I love our beautiful teachers. I love our beautiful Jaguars. I love everything. So then when I hear different ideas from you, from Martin Silverman, from Brad Hughes, from different parts, I try to implement it and make it part of my repertoire, making sure that it's there. Because right now, through these tough times, we're every state right now, we're about to go through all our state tests, right?
Mm-hmm.
We're about to get letter grades after 2 years of nonsense. And you know what? People are going to need to get picked up. People are going to need that motivation. And it starts and ends with us in our chair. What are we doing to prepare our team members? Always. And it's about learning from other people. Iron sharpens iron.
Iron.
And so it's very important that I listen to programs like this. And I'll give you the litany later on. But but you know
Look
what?
forward to it.
Am I doing okay? I mean, am I listening? Are people in New York different than me? No. Are people in Hawaii different than me? No. Are people in Alaska different than me? No. Because they have kids there that are going through divorce. They have kids there that have learning problems. They have
Right.
kids there that are probably immigrating to that area. Everywhere is the same situation. And it's crucial that all of us stay connected one way or the other. If you're tired and you're going home, Tim, I don't know about you, but this is what I've learned. When a team member, an administrator goes home and they have that lead blanket when they sit on the couch, that's because you're working too hard.
Mm.
You're not getting other people to support you. You're not hearing other positivity, other ways of being positive to enhance your tool chest. So listen to these podcasts. Go on Twitter, everyone. I don't do Twitter. I only do Facebook. Okay, we'll talk about social media later. All right. But you know what? That is where you could get a shot of adrenaline. I'm telling you guys, all these shows are great because you hear so many inspirational stories that you say, we got this. We're ready to go. But it's up to us. It's free. It's free. It's in
That's
front of
true.
us. We don't have to pay $130 for a hotel room. We don't have to pay $500 for a fee. All this is free and it's real life. It's real life, people living it, and they're telling us, take from me. Because you know what we do in education? We beg, borrow, and steal ideas, and we make them our own.
That's right. Wow, I just want to applaud all of that. I mean, that's, of course, the motivation behind what I do. And it's conversations like these, Josh, that keep me on fire. So keep preaching that message. I want to thank you again for lifting up so many creators and people like Shannon, people like Chris, and others who are watching. Chris says, going back to your last comments, I love the Weebies. Thanks for joining us on LinkedIn, Chris. Well, absolutely, yes. And, you know, there is a lot of great expertise and inspiration within our buildings, but you're right. It's 2022. We've got all of the continent, the world, really, that is joining in on the learning conversation. So we really are better together.
You know what, Tim?
Shifting. Yeah, go ahead.
Let me just piggyback on that. Because of these connections on Twitter, Tim, like I said, the campus that I work at are kids from they're brand new to this country. I'm able to connect with kids now from Guatemala, kids from Houston, kids from where Ryan Scott is with a Big Ed Idea in Kentucky, kids from Puerto Rico, and hopefully another school in Canada. And we're connecting via Google Meet. and we're trying to motivate these students. We're trying to do that, and it was all done via the power of Twitter and making connections on this. Educators, you got to get on this. You have to. You have to, because this is the way. How can I connect a poor kid from El Salvador back home? By doing that. Mm-hmm. So I highly suggest it. It's been an effective tool for me.
Wow, so good. You heard it here, folks. Hey, we're going to start to make a fun pivot. Actually, let me get to a few comments here. Shannon is saying, yes, Audible, YouTube, Podbeam, so many great places to catch these conversations. And Phil says, Tweetergy, absolutely, yes. Josh called it a shot of adrenaline. And I'm with you there, Phil, as well. Okay. I wanted to, as we start to wind down here, wanted to ask this fun conversation because something I've noticed about your Instagram feed, and maybe I can get this up while you're talking here, but I've noticed you've got a bit of a theme of space exploration that shows up on your Instagram. So is that something that connects with your whole school community, or is that personally inspiring to you? What is the origin behind the space exploration posts?
Well, it goes back to the origins of our campus, but not only that, but us as people being community servants. And so when we have Hispanic Heritage Month, when we have Black History Month, Women Heritage Month, right now it's Irish American Month. You know what? I need to make sure that my hijos understand that there's other cultures. Right. And that's the number one problem right now. Right now, we're very divided as a people. And as future leaders of America, our students need to understand, absorb, and be sympathetic, empathetic to other races and other cultures. And I do have the authority and power to promote positivity. I do that. And it's crucial that all of us connect with our students. Oh, that takes too much time. No, because then we're reading about it in the news. So every time that it's a month, like this month, it's Women Heritage Month and Irish American Month, and I'm promoting every single last day. I think I fall short. I'm like at 98% of the time, but almost every single day I promote an Irish American, a woman that is successful in the industry. And you know what, Tim? I'm sick and tired of being stereotypical, especially in education, that we only put up Jennifer Lopez. No disrespect to that lady. That we only put up movie stars and athletes. Right. You know what? Our cultures, our races are more than that. Mm-hmm. Do I every once in a while promote athletes? Yes, because they're very historic. Muhammad Ali, you know, I mean, Cain Velasquez, who just won the champion for UFC, regardless of the situation right now. I mean, it's about culturally making the kids aware that they have other choices in life. Let me repeat that again. That we need to promote and provide examples of women, different races that have made our country, our beautiful United States of America, a better place. Mm-hmm. And so it's my job. If I have 2,500 followers, let me promote this young lady. Let me promote this. And right now, I wanted to promote the sciences in space. Who talks about kids being astronauts repeatedly? I don't hear that. But you know what? That's something that we're going to. We have robots that are in Mars right now. And every once in a while, I check into that feed. Why not one of our kids creating those? Why not our kids? But if they don't know about it, how could they even aspire to it?
Right.
So I pick up a theme. So right now, I'm focusing on women who are business CEOs. So I tell those young ladies, yeah, I understand you want to be a cosmetologist, but how about you start your chain of supercuts?
Nice.
How about you become this lady and create your own candy?
Right.
And then you sell it around the world. You become the McDonald's. Today I'm going to promote the McDonald Brothers, Irish American Month. But you see, they all started somewhere. Right. And most of them started without means. So I feel right now with space exploration, that was the theme.
Right.
How many individuals in their race have gone to the moon, orbited the Earth, women CEOs. I try to promote something that they don't see every day.
Perfect.
If they don't see it, they will know about it. And I think that you and I have been through this, Tim, and a bunch of educators. Tell me if you agree with me. They don't know about the different fields. They know about the stereotypical fields, but they don't know about the different fields, kind of like a nuclear engineer, kind of like besides a lawyer, you know, a CEO of a major corporation with their subdivisions. It's having those conversations. And if I have that tool that maybe some kid in Missouri just came across their feed and they made a connection, and that motivated them to go that path, I'm happy. All I want is one. All I want is one. If I could connect with one kid to become an astronaut, love it. I love it. So it's not just that was my focus for that week.
Yeah.
But you know what? It's about promoting different races, different ethnicities, different genders, making sure that we show our hijos in our school, this is what you can. Si se puede, échale ganas.
All right, well, that's okay. I feel a little foolish for asking the question now, but it makes so much more sense. And yes, wow, I really like that. And you're giving me things to think about in terms of my own social media and what we put out as a school community. But putting that spotlight on different leaders in the community, I'm such a fan of that. And of course, bringing them in, connecting. You talked about connecting over Google Meet, bringing other voices, because our kids don't always know as many adults and role models as maybe we think they do. That's a dangerous assumption to make. So I think you are doing something really good there. Well, we are starting to wind down. Josh, we've got a few rapid fire questions for you. Here's the first one. Thinking of wellness and self-care, I think I know how you will answer this, by the way, based on what you did this morning. But what is one app, routine, or daily practice that gives you clarity and rekindles your fire?
5 times per week, I go to the gym. I wake up at 3:30 in the morning, and since I'm so old, it takes me like 45 minutes just to get ready to go to the gym, get that routine going. But you know what? I became a dad at an old age. I'm over 50 right now, and I have a 2-year-old. Yeah, you feel me, right? And so there is no way I'm going to allow that 2-year-old to wheel me around. I need to be there for my family. Going to the gym 5 times per week is not something that I do for myself, but I do for my family to make sure that they have a healthy dad as long as they can, to make sure they have somebody that supports them and they see that health is something crucial. Am I Arnold Schwarzenegger? No, I'm not. Am I a six-pack guy? No, I'm not. But you know what? I do enough to where all my blood work comes back, it's comfortable. But also, it allows me to clear the noise in my head. Understand that when you're at the gym, you're going through I'm going to show my age, your card catalog, and I'm getting rid of the things that I don't want. And I'm thinking of what I'm going to say at a faculty meeting. I'm thinking of what I'm going to do during morning announcements. I'm thinking of all those things and getting rid of the noise. We all have noise, but you need an avenue to let it out. So if you sit in our chair, you need to do something that's physical. We got together with other administrators, Shika Houston, some other administrators, and we created the 10K club. So we do 10,000 steps per day, and we post it. You got to do 10,000, get that accountability partner. Get somebody there to make sure that you're following up on your health goals. Because if you're not healthy, your staff, your students don't want to see you ill there. Go home. Don't be a martyr. I've seen some administrators like that. Why even show up? Stay home. Take care of your health. But don't get to that point. Take your supplements. Hey, have you noticed that mysteriously we don't hear about that disease anymore? I'm just saying it's still there. But for me, the common cold is there. My wife just got I think she's under the weather right now. It's still out there. The seasons are changing. So take your supplements. Take your D3, your C, your zinc, whatever you feel comfortable. Consult your physician before you do that. And make sure that you work out. Let the stress out, because yes, in our chair, especially if you're sitting in the chair like I used to sit with 2,550 kids and 200 faculty members, it drains your soul softly with all the noise that's out there. And the only way for you to be a fit leader is making sure you take care of your shell. Take care of it. Let the stress out, work out, but it's also for the betterment of your family.
I know you're preaching the language of Zandra Galvan. I'm sure you've crossed paths with her and other fit leaders who preach that as well, that you've got to do it not for yourself, but for others, just to make sure you can serve at your full capacity. And by the way, I want to say thanks for sharing that out, because I know there is a subset of educators who feel like, oh, that's so narcissistic, or why would anyone want to know what I'm doing? Well, I think it adds positively to that conversation. And, I scroll through my feed, I see someone like you or George Kouros at the gym. Hey, that's motivation for me. That's inspiration for me to do the same and get back in shape as well. So thank you for sharing. Yeah, go ahead.
On that note, Tim, and I'll tell you right now, because I want to finish the last thing with one of my beliefs that I live with. Look, hey, administrator, hey, teacher, take this from an old guy that's been in 30 years.
Yeah.
Okay, 30 years. Look, guys, you're always going to have haters.
Right.
Look at me. You're always going to have haters. Trust me. Ignore them. They don't make you or break you. All that matters is what you feel comfortable with your vision for your students and the love of your family. Don't care about what the haters say. When you post something and someone mocks it, they're irrelevant in your life. They don't pay you. They don't listen to them.
Yeah.
Trust me. I hear stuff about the things that I post and all the stuff that I post. You're just making us look bad. I've heard that. Oh, why do you do all this? Then we're going to have to do it. Hey, you know what? I'm sorry that you're weak sauce. I'm not. I care about my hijos and promoting them. Yeah. So if you don't like it, you don't have to follow me. Ghost me. You know what? Block me so you don't have to see my posts, because everything you're going to be seeing is positivity and support of everybody in my sphere of influence. So I suggest post your stuff as long as you know that it can encourage and motivate one other person.
I just think it goes back to, we titled this whole conversation around telling your story, and that's what you do. You tell the story and model what you hope for from others as well, right? You're not only lifting others up, you're saying, hey, this is what I'm trying to do. And that's a powerful message. Josh, whose voices are inspiring you right now? You warned me earlier this is a bit of a list, but who are the authors, speakers, or creators who are lighting your fire for learning?
Okay. The very first group of people that inspire me and fire me up are all the people that allowed me to have a new job. I go back to the person that motivated me to become a teacher, my mom. I'm inspired to keep up her vision. I'm motivated and inspired by Miss Millie Williams, who kept pushing me to become an administrator. I'm motivated and inspired by Lorenzo Mata, who allowed me to, and sometimes get a little special support during interviews to get me my first assistant principal job. I'm inspired and motivated by Dr. Rick Lopez and Dr. Susana Russell, my current bosses, who allowed me to come from El Paso to Garland ISD. My job is to make sure that their recommendation was a good recommendation. My job is to make sure, and I'm inspired to work harder for them so that nothing gets to their desk. That's the goal of somebody that sits in our chairs as administrators, that it doesn't go any higher. So my job is to always be motivated to make sure that whatever decision was, my name across somebody, that when it was approved, that it was a good choice. But other people that inspire me, Principal Cafele, let me tell you, Principal Cafele, I've been honored to be on his show. When he asked me, he called me, I'm like, be on the show. I'm like, oh my God. I love the guy since NASSP in 2015. Todd Whitaker. That's all I have to say. I'm going to give you names of icons, but I have not let them go. Jimmy Casas. Jimmy Casas is somebody culturized. Everything that I believe in, he projects, he promotes. Sean Kane, Fundamental 5. That's what allowed the blueprint and his idea, his vision of simple style of teaching to ensure that everybody learns. That's why we were able, our team members in the former campus, to go from a D- to a B- in 3 years in a 2,500 size school. My philosophy is the 4 agreements, Don Miguel Ruiz. If you haven't read it, administrator, every school I've been at, I do a book study on that. You have to read the 4 agreements, Don Miguel Ruiz. It'll allow you from listening to the noise. As he calls it, the black magic. The black magic comes into you. And other people's book of laws get in your way of what your vision is. I highly suggest it. It's a short, quick read. And people that influence me every Saturday, and I'll post it on my social media sites. So these are the people, these are the podcasts that I hear. Rethinking Learning, Barbara Bray. The Second Question, Martin Silverman. The Pixel Classroom, Ryan Reed. Good News, Brad Hughes. Principal Liner Notes, Sean Gillard. The Big Idea, Ryan Scott. Between Two Blue Devils, Mark Homer. Big Ideas in Small Windows with Mike Gaskell. Relationship Centered Learning with Kevin Curtis. The Principal Leadership Lab with Jeff Prickett, Adam DeWitt. Learning Ashika Houston, Tammy Taylor, Sean Hurt. We were part of the Fantastic Four. And most importantly, there's this guy, Fonz, my big ed tech, and this other guy that, you know what, recently I've been following him and he motivates me with his YouTube. He's known as Tim Cavey. He's a teacher on fire.
That's
He
right.
has great guests, guys. When I'm on the treadmill, I'm hearing him. It's one of those things because you know what? He's legit. If you look at
Thanks,
this young
Josh.
man right there, this guy, he only paid me $1,000 for this, right? This guy, he's legit. From all the people that I've seen, when he's talking to you, he's talking to you, with you, and he promotes what a vision is. So I highly suggest that all the people that I've mentioned, and I'll post it on my personal social media sites. But you know what? Keep on promoting this show. This show is one of the best ones out there. And you know what? I'll expect a check in the mail for that.
Josh, what a lineup. First of all, thank you for the kind words. That really means a lot. And I've been so encouraged by you over the last few months. Yeah, so many great names. I want to recognize the second last one there, our friend Fonz in Texas as well. Such a fantastic guy. And that's one thing about meeting and connecting with these content creators and leaders is that often they're not just skilled communicators, they are wonderful human beings as well. The kind of people you'd be proud to work with anytime. So, hey, educator, if you are not feeling very connected with voices outside of your building or district, you just got an amazing list there from Josh and a lot of great names. By the way, Kafele as well. I have to say he's basically my idol because I hop off of my show and I hop into his, and wow, he is rocking it. He is bringing the fire. So I learned from him. Two more questions, Josh. Is there an upcoming project or activity that you're focused on? I know you're involved with Unlock the Middle. Is there anything else, or would you like to talk about that?
I think I highly suggest that some voices, and we can, hey, principals, I call you guys and you guys ignore me. I message you on Twitter, you guys ignore me. Don't be scared. Join us for Unlock the Middle. On Sunday, if you're an author, if you're a speaker, we need those voices Sunday night. We have our show Sunday night. So if you're a speaker, message me. I'm on all platforms. Let me know. It's Sunday night. We'll schedule you in. We'll ask you questions about what your vision is, what your book was about. And then on Thursdays, we call it the Red Zone, and we interview different people. This last Thursday, we had bus drivers. What is a bus driver life daily? How do they deal with our students, our kids? The previous week, we had secretaries, we had cafeteria managers, we had teachers of the year. We also have other principals. We want to hear from principals from Idaho. Hey, people from Idaho, can you call us? We want to hear people from Montana, from Oregon, from Washington. We want to see what's going on there because we're facing the same dilemma. If you're tired, we're tired too, but you got to give us some of your tools. Come on board, make comments, let us know, hey, I've used this before and this is how it helps. Education, beg, borrow, and steal. And as administrators, there's no difference, guys. There is no difference. So please reach out to us. We want you on the show to bring to the table a new set of tools for student success. Our kids, our hijos are the future of this country. They're facing some huge obstacles. And the only way we're going to get them ahead is by working together. Because that kid right now, due to the economy, might be leaving Texas to South Dakota. How can we connect? And the connection is here, right here, this little stream right here, this beautiful little crazy light that I have next to me. We're all connected now, and that's the beauty of technology. So please, administrators, reach out to us so we could meet either on Thursday or Sunday, and we will get stronger together.
Thank you so much for all you're doing there, and for your co-hosts at Unlock the Middle. I showed the YouTube channel briefly, but yeah, make sure if you are catching us on YouTube, you're heading over there and subscribing to that channel. Great conversations going on a regular basis as well. Well, Josh, it's time to wind this down. Sadly, you've fired me up through this conversation. I'm so grateful. How can we connect with you? What are the best ways?
Okay, I'm on Facebook, and everything is the name of the campus, MPA Jaguars. If you want the whole fit, and I'm not saying that I'm Arnold Schwarzenegger again, but if you want to be part of the 10K challenge, I'm on JT Spotlights. You see different things like daily. I'm a history teacher, so I like putting history stuff up there, make people aware of things that are out there, as neutral as I can be, obviously, because you don't want to be hearing people's one side or the other, because that's not what it's about. It's about promoting positivity. Twitter, if you're an educator, please reach out to me on Twitter. You don't have to follow. I mean, just reach out to us and let us know what your ideas are, because that's the only way we're going to be stronger together. I'm on Instagram also, and then all our positive TikTok graduation videos, they're posted on our TikTok a little bit more because, the copyright rules, all with the different songs that make the videos a little bit better. But those are the ways right now to get a hold of us, reach out to us, but most importantly, learning together. So don't think that whatever your idea is, that's nothing. No, that can help us. If we tell kids, this is what we tell kids since I was in school. Ask questions. There's no such thing as a dumb question, right? We keep on saying that. Okay, your idea, there's no such thing as a silly idea. It's an idea. And maybe I could use it to make a match into a big, beautiful, powerful bomb of knowledge. So we need to be together and share those ideas. Don't hold them in. We tell administrators, we tell teachers, don't be silos, work together. But when I reach out to administrators, you don't want to work with us. What is that all about? Hello? Contradiction? Taking the funk? So it's one of those things. And you know what, Tim? Can I just read something for everybody? I know that I know we're not supposed to be reading on stuff like this, but it's my philosophy for everybody. Classroom teacher, administrator, and hey, for you student, insert your logo here. It's from Mother Teresa. And the last day of school, whenever I'm at a school, I read this. People are often unreasonable, illogical, and self-centered. Forgive them anyway. If you're kind, people may accuse you of selfish motives. Be kind anyway. If you're successful, you will win some false friends and some true enemies. Succeed anyway. If you are honest, sincere, people may deceive you. Be honest and sincere anyway. What you spend years building, someone could destroy overnight. Build anyway. If you find serenity and happiness, they may be jealous. Be happy anyway. The good you do today, people will often forget tomorrow. Do good anyway. Give the world the best you have, and it may never be enough. Give them your best anyway. And finally, in the final analysis, it is between you and him. It never was between you and them anyway.
Brother, what a note to end on. I feel like I've been blessed so much, and you've blessed everyone watching and listening to this, either live or on the replay. Thank you so much for doing all that you do. Take care, Josh, and I know we're going to be in touch again soon.
Thank you very much.
Bye-bye.
Bye.